Uh, there we go. So, but guys, thanks for getting on here. Just a reminder, we're doing this every Tuesday. In the group, we will not be here next week because of EXPCon. Who's going to EXPCon? Besides me? Yep. Sean, Mary, cool. Brian, you going? You'll be there?
I have plans too, but I got some that just come up, so it's up in the air at the moment.
Working on it. Yeah, I hear you. It's gonna be good. So yeah, my wife and I were flying out on Monday and come back on Friday. So
and I also wanted to introduce everybody to Nicole Gilbertson. She's actually licensed in California and working on her Nevada stuff, and she's recently joined our group. So this is her first time with us today.
Oh, nice. Welcome aboard, Nicole. Good to have you.
Jeff.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's good to have you. So yeah, we'll be doing this every Tuesday. And of course, I mean, there's so much training in EXP world that, there was times when I kind of even hesitated doing something like this, but I do think it's good that we can all just share a little bit and be interactive on here, whatever. I asked Mary to teach today. Mary hit Icon here recently in August. So her 1-year anniversary at EXP. So I'll let her tell her story and stuff, but she's, got a great business up there in Woodland Park. So about a half hour from where I'm at here in Colorado Springs. But Mary, why don't you go ahead and take it away, tell your story, and whatever you want to jump in on your stuff. Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. And thanks, Jeff, for asking me to speak today. What I'd like to share, I'm going to start by sharing my screen here, and we can hopefully it'll work. Got a little PowerPoint thing to go through. What we're going to talk today is about goal setting for margin. So that might not make any sense to you right now. It will in a minute. But my name is Mary Sekowski, and I'm an agent. I've been an agent with EXP since last year. I came on board July or the end of July of 2020, and then I was able to attain the Icon benefits August of this year, by the 1-year anniversary. So I'm originally from Georgia, and now I live in Woodland Park, Colorado. My background is in banking and finance. Before I started a real estate career, I was with Wachovia Bank. I don't know if any of you remember Wachovia back in the day before 2008 and the banking crisis, and then by way of the big buyouts, Wells Fargo. So spent some time there, and then I left in 2011, stayed home with my son for a year, and then decided to start a real estate career here in Colorado in 2013. So, I kind of tongue-in-cheek put this, my hobbies, outdoors, swimming, skiing, and playing with numbers. I'm kind of a spreadsheet junkie. So that might tie into what we're going to talk about today. And it might make sense on why I chose this as my topic. So let's see, can I move forward? There we go. Okay. So I put this on here because, we talk about Robert Kiyosaki and the EXP presentation and the cash flow quadrant. So we see him a lot. He's a huge influencer, especially on me personally. Has anyone played this game? Yeah. Okay. It's kind of fun. I played it when I was in college. I was a finance major. I like to deal with numbers and look at the future in finance. And it was really, eye-opening to me that, no matter what career someone is in, what occupation they choose or they fall into, that anyone with the right goal setting and proper planning can get into the fast track, can get there. They just have to make right decisions and plan carefully. So this game is just kind of cool. If you haven't had a chance to play it or see it or play with your family, I highly encourage you to do so. Let's see. I am trying to move through this, but it is not. There we go. Okay, so we're going to talk today about the importance of goals and goal setting for margin. And I'll explain that in a few minutes. But goals are really important. And especially in the business that we're in, we're self-employed. We have the luxury of choosing basically through our hard work and through how much we can put in it, choose our results. But with that, goal planning is really important. So not only does it provide clarity and motivation, but it keeps us accountable and it helps us really track our achievements. So, through clarity and goal planning, we want to make sure that we are pacing ourselves the right trajectory for our business accomplishments. It also gives us a clear picture of how we're doing whenever we look back on our goals. We're in November right now. This is a really perfect time of the year to reflect on 2021, what worked well, what didn't, what changes do we want to make for next year, and then what that's going to look like in a monetary or numbers basis going forward on meeting our goals for 2022. We want to give ourselves buy-in through goal setting. We want to give ourselves that motivation to buy into our plan and to really see the end result and work towards that. We want to be accountable for what we're doing. We want to be able to use goal setting as a way to be able to track throughout the year how we're doing. Where do we track? What are we missing? Do we need to wait till December to make changes? No, let's look at it in July and let's see what we can do for the second half of the year to reach those goals or exceed them. And then, of course, achievement. It's not just the financial rewards and goal setting, but it's just that career achievement and that you did a good job. When you set a goal and you reach it. Okay, so I wanted to tell you a story, and this brings us into the margin discussion. About 10 years ago, I was at a church in Georgia. I don't know if anyone's familiar with a guy named Andy Stanley. His father, Charles Stanley, was on TV, First Baptist of Atlanta, I think, on Sunday mornings. But Andy's a great pastor around the Atlanta area, and he started a series on personal finance. And I was visiting with my sister, and he opened with a story, and it was about remembering and thinking back to his first job. And he was probably 15 years old, had zero obligations. He got a job, working at a fast food restaurant or something, but he'll never forget. And if you think back to your first job, you will probably never forget when you got your first paycheck. And the paycheck might not have been for a lot of money. It could have been for $100. I don't know. It doesn't matter what the amount was, but it probably wasn't much. But the feeling that he got, that I know I got when I first, received my first paycheck, is you feel rich. You have no obligations. It could be $100, but the sky's the limit on what you can do with it. And the point he was making, and it was a really good point, is that through life, we lose this feeling. We start overloading ourselves with obligations. We work to make a paycheck, and then it's all spent before we even get it. So this feeling, though, is called margin. So getting that first paycheck and not having the obligations meant that you had space between your income and your obligations, and that was margin. And so whenever I sit down and plan through my goals, I keep this in mind all the time. This just stuck with me. I keep in mind that, okay, if I'm going to plan my goals for next year, how am I going to give myself that margin? How am I going to take that pressure off so that I'm not spending my entire commission check right away, that I'm planning for the future, that I'm creating a buffer for myself and creating that space to feel good and to feel comfortable in what I'm doing, day to day. So with that in mind, we're gonna set our goals for margin. I want to stop here and ask, does anybody have any questions so far, any comments they want to make on this? Because I would love for this to be interactive.
I think just a quick question to everybody. I think and again, like, it is a good time to be evaluating. I think we need to evaluate throughout the year, and kind of see where we're at. Always learning, always growing, whatever. But I think, let me just ask, like, some of you guys, like, in terms of, like, November, December, it is a good time to start reflecting back a little bit. And what have I learned this year? What areas do I need to work on and improve on going into the new year? Personal development kind of things. All these books here behind me, I'm always reading because I think there's so much value there, but let me just throw it out there. Like, does anybody have anything you want to share? Just something that you learned this last year, maybe about yourself or about your business, something that you feel like, here's an area that, I did great at this year that I want to go to the next level at, or here's an area that I saw where, wow, here's a weak spot that I really want to work on and focus on, improving this going into the new year. Any thoughts on that? Just just to put that out there to people?
Hey, Jeff, I'll pipe up. I mean, for me, I think it's follow-up, good and bad. I mean, I think that's a huge key to success, for not only keeping your buyers and sellers, in your court, or even new agents. It's about follow-up and doing the right thing, because if you don't, they're not going to be there, and they'll give you the same feedback, I think as well. So I think if you do a good job of that, you're going to increase your business, whether it be a small percentage or a big, depending on what you're trying to accomplish.
Right. What are some ways that you can implement it? Like, what do you think as far as being able to do better follow-up?
Well, I think for me, I think some of it's using the right tools, whether you're using spreadsheets for your clients, or using KV Core, or using any of our apps that we use for different things that we do. And I think that's key. And just putting it in your calendar.
Yeah.
Get your calendar set up right and follow it.
Yeah. One of the things that I had in place, I don't have it anymore. And again, I'm just in a different place in my business, but one of the things I learned through Craig Proctor's program, I had a 7-year follow-up system. When we had a closing, in our CRM, we had all these different plans, right? That you could assign a plan to somebody or whatever, or a drip campaign. And we had a 7-year follow-up plan that we did, and just implement it right at closing. Boom, we'd hit that. And, like every 30 to 45 days, it would just pop up. And it was, back then it was more mailings, or, emails, whatever. It could be email or text now, whatever, but just something that went out automatically for 7 years to those clients. And of course, about every third or fourth one, there'd be that PS at the bottom, hey, the best form of flattery is getting a referral. If you know anybody looking to buy or sell a house, whatever. I picked up so many referrals from that over the years, but also because it just keeps your name in front of people. But the other thing too was, why was it a 7-year plan? Because what do most people do every 7 years? It's time to sell the house and move on to the next house. There's the average. I mean, so anyway, so that's why it was set up that way, but it was a great system just to follow. Aaron last week, and if you haven't watched the 2 trainings that we had from Aaron Ken, he mentioned like what do you call it? The 1 by 1 by 1 by 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was really good. The day after closing, calling them, hey, just making sure everything's okay. Whatever you guys got, at least got into the house, the keys work, all that stuff. Great. 1 week later, 1 month later. And then what was the 4? Was it 4 times a year? Do you remember?
Yeah, quarterly.
Every quarter.
Yeah.
Some sort of a follow-up, touch base with them, and just continue that. And you can automate that in so many different ways through KV Core or a good CRM that you have, just have a plan set up, where it automatically just does it, but it pops it up on your schedule, that quick phone call or a text. Hey, just checking in. I hope you guys are doing well. If you need anything at all, you'll find out something going on. Like Aaron had one where something was happening and it's like $75 and Aaron paid for it to come out. It's like, you end up getting referrals on that. Man, this guy's great. For $75 to get a furnace cleaned because it needs it, or something not going on like that, just to pay for that home warranty piece going out. Like, man, what a great thing if it turns around and leads to 2 or 3 more clients coming at you, So follow-up is key. That's good, Brian. Who else? Who else has something that you've seen, like you've learned from this year, something that either worked really well that you want to go to another level on this next year, or something where I'm like, wow, here's just a weak spot that I see that I need to really work on and improve on. Anybody want to share anything else coming into the new year? Anybody?
I want to add that what I have taken, a big part of what I've taken from my background in the banking management and coaching my bankers to success and all this stuff is that daily activities are what really drive the overall success. And this is to your point, Brian, and your point, Jeff, that, you got to know what your overall objective is. And that's part of goal setting. And what I hope you'll take away today as we continue through this presentation is that you take that overall objective and you break it down into what does that take day to day to get to that goal. And so I'll just go ahead, unless anyone else has anything to add right now. We're going to look at the next steps. Of course, when you're goal setting for margin, you want to find out what your bottom line is, where you need to be in your business to be successful. And then you want to increase it. You want to really push your limits. You want to be realistic, but you want to push them beyond your comfort zone. You can amaze yourself with your potential and ability if you push yourself out of your comfort zone and then drill down to what it's going to take to get there and then do it. So whether that's a great follow-up plan, drip campaigns, prospecting for new business, identifying those daily activities that'll help you get there is going to be key. Networking within your sphere of influence is going to be key to reaching that margin goal. So this is an example of kind of a template that I've made that I use whenever I'm, looking at my goal setting for the year. With EXP, of course, I want to make icon. That's money on the table. If you're working hard every day and you're trying to, create a good business, well, then of course you want to make icon. So what does it look like to get there and to be able to get that income needed for margin? So this is just an example. I'm happy to send this template to anybody that wants it, but I back out these activities to, okay, the overall objective income needed for margin is, let's just say, and these are examples, let's just say you want to make $300,000 in 2022. You know that your overhead with your marketing expense and your business expenses is 15%. That means you need to generate $345,000 in commission income. Now, this is not including the multitude of other sources that EXP offers us and that we're able to obtain through other channels within our business. This is just individual production. Assuming your average sales price is $350,000 and you receive a 3% average commission, then your commission check is around $10,500. So the math would work out to where you need 33 transactions a year to meet that goal. With that, you need about 3 transactions a month. So statistically, if we look at sales statistics on close rates, average, you're going to close about 1 out of 10. You get 10 decent leads, warm leads, someone who's looking for property, not every lead is a hot lead, then you're going to have about a 10% conversion rate. So with that, you need to have about 7 appointments a week. And those are with, serious qualified buyers or sellers that are looking to do something. So with that, activity, I wanted to also illustrate that that's your icon as well. That's you meeting icon at that kind of level. So I don't know who would be happy with that as a goal for next year. I would. I think that's definitely pushing the envelope on, and that's a really good year in real estate. That's a heck of a lot more than probably 90% of realtors do in our market. I think, what is it, still 10% of the realtors do 90% of the business, because a lot of people don't apply the day-to-day activities to their job to be successful. So just taking the time to know what you need to do, and then to do that, create your marketing, lead generation around these numbers, to be able to generate 7 appointments a week. What does that look like? And then start to brainstorm from there around how you're going to make that happen. And I want to stop here and see if anybody has any questions or any comments for discussion.
Anybody? Come on, guys. You got some thoughts here. Don't be afraid to share some things. Katrina likes to talk. Katrina, what do you think? Do you do this, Katrina? Because you're muted. I'm sorry.
Mary, what is your approach to getting those 7 a week? Like, what are strategies that you implement to do that?
Yeah, well, this is an example, but yeah, if I needed 7 per week, I would probably start with my sphere of influence. Look at what I can do within my community to attend events once or twice a week, talk to people, lead generation, of course, is always, you want to be able to effectively invest in a lead generation that's going to give you statistically the number to be able to get in front of the people, the number of people that you need per month or per week. So those are probably the two things that I focus on, is some lead generation and, local events and networking that way.
What has worked for you for the Woodland Park area for lead generation? Because I feel like most of mine is Sphere, which I think is probably the top, but like, how do you expand past that?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I've for a lot of years invested in Zillow, for some lead generation. I know the Making It Rain platform is something I'm looking into amping up for 2022. That's actually my goal list, is to amp up what is available more through the EXP channels versus what I've done in the past. So those are Zillow and realtor.com have probably been the two places that I've generated the most leads over the last 5 or 6 years.
Have you guys, Katrina, have you used the, or any of you guys, have you used the property boost through KV Core for listings?
Yeah.
Have you done that?
Yeah.
Do you have much success with that for yourself?
I wouldn't say it's converted anything, but it definitely gets your name out there. Like a lot of my Sphere are like, we see you all over social media. So that has helped in that way. I tried Make It Rain for 6 months, but I didn't have a lot of success with it.
Right.
I talked to another EXP agent, and she says she feels you have to pay about $750 a month to really see. It's a numbers game too, again, but.
Yeah. And I've heard mixed things on Make It Rain. There's some people that they swear by it, and like talking to other EXP agents, other markets and stuff, that they've done really, really well with it. Some that have not. I've seen some pretty good success with the property boost.
Okay.
And we have a guy here in town in Colorado Springs, Carlos Gonzalez. He shared at one of our lunches about a month ago or so, and I don't know if you guys have heard this, or he was there, but he had a home out here. He's in several groups in Workplace on KV Core. And he had a house out east of town here. Colorado Springs, you go east and you run out here into the plains, and it's like you're on your way to Kansas. It gets very flat and wide open spaces out there. And he had a property out there, a 2-bed, 1-bath house on 44 acres, kind of an anomaly of a house. And it was on the market for 1 month with 0 showings, just out there in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's miles out there, And one of the groups that he's in, they recommended that he try doing a property boost. So it's $60 for a week, and they put up ads on Facebook automatically, with your property. So, and I did it after I heard Carlos's story. In 4 days, they had 600 views on that property through the property boost, because you get an email every day where it shows you your numbers. They had 600 views. He picked up. He had 14 leads that came out of it. They picked up 4 that had turned into either buyer appointments. 1 was a listing appointment, or 2 were listing appointments. And then he got the property under contract. And that was in 4 days. Now, that's not going to happen for every property, of course, but it was enough for me to come back and go, like, talk to my wife, like, okay, for $60 a week, like, I'm going to do that with every home we list, like, why not? And so just there's a lot of tools in the back office for KV Core if you just learn how to use them. Most people just won't sit through the trainings or learn how to use them. That's the problem with it, but it's a great tool to bring in more stuff. But I like what you're doing here, Mary, in the sense of just one of the things I learned a long time ago when it comes to goals like this is, and I don't know if you guys have heard this, it's like most people overestimate what they can do in a year. They underestimate what they can do in 5 years. There's some quote out there like that. And I think that's true. I think as we're coming into this new year, don't be afraid to go big with some of this stuff, but then break it down.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say, I want to have 30 closings this year. Okay, great. Now, what does that mean? If you break down the numbers like this, how many appointments do I need to do that? How many calls do I need to be making to hit that? How many closings a month do I need? You start going backwards through that goal to come down to the bare basics of what do I need to do on a daily basis to accomplish that goal for the month, which then will lead to the goal over the year. and through that, now you can set up even a 5-year goal and backtrack it and do the same kind of thing.
Exactly.
But without breaking it, they say that too, aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. And most people just won't go through the exercise or the work of setting the goals. It's like, December comes, like, taking a break. And I get it, take a break. We all need those breaks. But come into January, like ready to go. Take some time there and start digging into this stuff and start breaking this down like this. What do you want to do? And go backwards through that goal. And now you can figure out on a daily basis, here's what I need to do to accomplish the goal. And your numbers might be different than this. Obviously, you're going to have your numbers, whatever that might be. How many appointments do you need a month to hit your goal? It might be 15 appointments a month. So you need one, and then how many calls does that mean? How many leads do I need to get that, whatever. What do I need to do now to generate those leads? It's just like, how many people do I need to talk to? Make that happen. So.
Yeah. And I've seen this over and over again, sales statistics, even in a service industry sales career, like real estate, we're a service industry, but we're also in sales, it's all the same, it's a numbers game. It's knowing that you're getting in front of enough people that statistically will convert. And then it's taking that and finessing that into, well, geez, let me see if I can get this to a 20% conversion rate. Let me see if I can beat the odds on what the statistics tell us. Let me work smarter, not harder. Let me, if I'm only able to get in front of, 14 people a month, let me see if I can make this more effective, better quality leads, or, choosing more high impact activities that'll get you in front of ready buyers and ready sellers, like that property boost. You've got people that are now inquiring on a property that is on the market, a listing appointment comes out of it, buyers come out of it. That's how we grow our business. So those are high impact for sure. All right. So icing on the cake, I would be remiss without saying that this is just one aspect of, goal setting. You want to look at your overall picture with your overall career. Within EXP and just within a real estate career in general, we have so much more available to us within, developing a team. And that's actually my 2022 goal. In 2021, I established a team, and my teammates and I are working on growing that and developing that so that is another source of income for me as the team leader. And then to help them reach their goals for margin. Mentor compensation, within EXP, stock bonuses and rev share. And those are all things that help us to be able to get to that margin point that helps us feel like, the sky's the limit. So I had to say this just because of the cash flow game, and I love it, but, staying diligent and focus on your goal setting with your utilization of passive income streams. Definitely you're on the right track to get out of the rat race and on the fast track, which is the whole point of that game. So that's all I had, except for this quote that I thought was kind of cool. Goals, there's no telling what you can do when you get inspired by them. There's no telling what you can do when you believe in them, and there's no telling what will happen when you act upon them. And action after the planning is the key, and doing the daily activities to get there.
For sure. That's awesome. Do me a favor, Mary. If you can stop sharing your screen so we can all
I'm going to try. It still won't. Oh, hang on. Let's see. There we go. There's my mouse. All right. Awesome.
Cool.
Let me stop.
Good. So let me say real quick, I want to welcome Colin on here. Colin just joined EXP on Friday, got your license moved over. Is that right, Colin? Yep, we've been talking for a few months, and so came to the lunch here a couple weeks ago. But anyway, it's good to have you on board, Colin. Welcome on board.
Thank you. Looking forward to getting going. I actually got on a KV Core this morning, so thank you for that.
Oh, did you? Good.
Yeah.
Very cool. And real quick, can you just share, Colin, you've been, how long have you been in real estate?
Since 2016.
2016,
five years now.
and you're on track. You're a big producer out there on your own.
Yeah.
Just by yourself right now. But how many transactions? What kind of volume do you have this year? Roughly. Are you on track for?
I'm on track to do about 50 this year. I think I looked, and I'm close to 17 million in volume.
It's awesome.
So yeah,
it's really good, man.
looking to double that this year.
Yeah,
at EXP.
good for you. Very cool.
Yeah.
And I told you before, I like that mustache. Kept going on.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
So, yeah,
Welcome, Colin. It's good to have you on the team.
Yep.
I just wanted to ask Mary, so tell me what your schedule looks like on a daily basis. Does that fit into your success?
Yeah, and I think this is all of our struggles. I have 2 kids that are in school, and so my daily schedule tends to be a little sporadic. But I know that whenever I sit down and think through my week, I need to build in time for follow-up. I need to build in time for prospecting. I need to look and see what activities are in my community that week, business chamber after hours, activities at the kids' school, which is a huge source of networking for me. Keeping in mind that, if I need to meet with or, get in front of 20 people in the week, how am I going to do that? And so I sort of back that out into what I have going on, and wearing my name tag to the grocery store. I cannot tell you guys, if you're not wearing your name tag everywhere, it opens up some conversations. I wear it to this, I'm volunteering at the school, I wear my name tag, and I always end up talking to someone about real estate. I like to sit down about once a month and go through where I'm at, where I'm tracking for the month and for the quarter. And then this time of the year, I'm sitting down and planning out next year. So I'm looking at how this year has looked. I like to try to make these goals. These goals are an example, but my personal goals, I want to, I aim to have those done by November. I want November, December to be gravy, for the year. So I really try to accomplish, whenever I set my goals, I try to set them up to accomplish in 10 months. And that way, I'm buying myself a buffer. I'm buying myself some margin if I need it to make sure I'm achieving where I want to be.
it's good. It's important to create that, really work hard on that margin. I think realtors, we're good at making money. We're good at spending money.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many that are, they're about a month or 2 away from being out of business. And that's a challenging place to be, and I've been there, back in the day, many times. You have a huge month, 5 closings this month, and the 29th, they all fall apart.
Yeah.
We can have those, it's one of the nice things about EXP, because with the multiple streams of income for doing what we're going to do anyway, like it's one of the big appeals to me in coming over here, almost 4 years ago now. But to have that margin, to be wise with how we spend our money, be wise with how we spend our time, and it is a numbers game for those of you guys that are new and different things. And the more people you talk to, I just had to learn that early on. When I first started, I remember being in the office, and after a few weeks of being in the office, I realized I got to get out of the office.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting anything done in the office. I mean, as much as I could. And I found that I remember taking my laptop. This is my first year in real estate, 2002. And I remember going to Starbucks, and I would just sit there and do everything that I was doing in the office. I just did it I'd be at Starbucks all day some days. I had no appointments that day or whatever, but I would sit there with my laptop, doing my emails, making my phone calls, working on ads for whatever that was going out at the time, working on my website, doing stuff, but I did it out there. And I just made a point. I can't tell you how many deals I've picked up over the years from just being out at a coffee shop. Because you're sitting there and I'll hear that table next door. Here's the 2 moms with their kids. And the one mom is like, oh my God, if we don't get a bigger place, I'm going to shoot somebody. Like, I mean, you'll hear that kind of conversation. And I would go over and talk to them. I just wasn't afraid to, hey, I'm so sorry, man, I'm not trying to eavesdrop. I overheard what you're saying, whatever. I mentioned about the kids or whatever, just kind of get in there. And I just hand them my card. Like, hey, just so you know, I'm a realtor here in town, whatever, if I can help you in any way at all or whatever, just, and just getting around and meeting people and just talking to people and just, and then you start seeing some of the same people and you start having some of those conversations. I take those breaks and talking. I've picked up so many. The first deal I ever got was a stranger in a coffee shop, and it was somebody, they were stationed at Fort Carson here in Colorado Springs, and they were getting ready to move to Utah. And one of the people that I was sitting there that I met, whatever, handed them my business card. And I just said, hey, if you know anybody looking to buy or sell, I just want to give you my card. And I actually do have a friend. They're forecasting they're getting moved to Utah, and I think I know they're going to sell their house. I don't know if they've talked to anybody or not. That night I get a phone call from this guy Jay. I remember, and I go meet with him, and sure enough, I list the house. My first listing. I put the sign in front of the wrong house, by the way. That was I learned from that. One of those mistakes. I did.
I had something kind of like that this year. I was volunteering at my kids' peak swim team car wash. It was a Saturday washing cars, and I was taking a little break, rinsing out some of the sponges, and one of the couples that drove up to get their car washed, they just randomly drove through them, talking to them. Where do you live? I wore my name tag even at the car wash. And the conversation came up. Hey, we're actually thinking about maybe selling our house. Well, I listed their house and it's under contract at $635,000. Would not have had that if I wasn't just being proactive and keeping my eyes and ears open out in the community. So it's huge what you can come up with when you just are always on point, which can be exhausting sometimes, but also rewarding.
Yeah. Awesome. You guys all have name tags? Does everybody have a name tag?
Yep.
No, I would
House of Magnets has a pretty good deal for the magnetic name tags, are like $5 a piece or something. So I recommend if you go on there, it's easy to order those.
Yeah. They're in your back office in Enterprise.
Yeah. I think the link through House of Magnets is on there too, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I think under marketing, branding, whatever, there's down at the bottom of that page of Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're cheap. $5, whatever. You can get a couple, 2, 3 of them. Different styles.
Yeah, have a couple in the car.
Whatever. Yeah, you got things you put in the car if you want.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. So there's all kinds of
Takeaways
ways
I
to
had
market yourself.
2 takeaways I had from today's meeting is first is be socially present. I think is a huge point there, Mary. I like, being social media, where you go on, Jeff, like you say, in the coffee shop, just letting people know that we're in the business. But I also liked your idea of the numbers, because I think too often in our business, we get too concerned about, well, what do you do? What's the most valuable thing? Well, it's different in every market. It's different compared to what your personality is. And so just having something that you do consistently, the numbers will work. Long-term, the numbers will work. Will you get 1 out of 10? Maybe. Will you get 3 out of 10? Maybe. That doesn't really matter. But to have something that we do on a consistent daily basis that goes through the numbers, I think is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Okay. For sure. Have you guys ever listened to Jim Rohn? She had that quote from Jim Rohn there at the end. Jim Rohn's he's an awesome, he passed away a few years ago, but just probably the guru of like personal development kind of stuff. And I know back on that back shelf up there at the top, I've got 4 or 5 of his books, but I've got all his audios. I love listening to him on audio. You can look him up on YouTube, but you could find his audios, but he's got a whole series on goal setting. And it's powerful stuff, really good stuff, and breaking it all down, and the numbers and how to make that work. And he says, I'll beat you every time. He says, I'll talk to more people. This guy converts 1 out of 10. This guy converts 4 out of 10 appointments. He says, I'll still beat you. I might convert 1 out of 10, but if I call, 4 times as many people, 5 times as many people, I'm going to beat you.
Right.
He's like, I will beat you. He's like, and again, and here's the thing, the more you do anything, the better you get at it.
Mm-hmm.
The more I got out there at Starbucks and the more people I talked to, the more comfortable I got doing it. So I just found myself being able to talk to people everywhere I went, and through those conversations, just you're standing in line at the grocery store, and I'd find some reason to compliment that person, or something to say about their kids, or something to say, whatever it might be. I just find a reason to say something, and it would open up a conversation. Now, that doesn't always lead to things, but many times it would, And again, I think, like you said, Mary, you got that name tag on wherever you go, and it's just people automatically know what you do, and that will lead to conversation. There's no doubt about it, and getting some deals out of that.
Well, these days, and my name tag has, of course, the EXP logo, and then it has my name, and you can see the Realty below it, but it's kind of small, in the EXP Realty logo. And I get people, they're like, EXP, what, and then, what is that exactly? Because they don't know the brand yet, and they're what they're curious. So there you go. There's an open conversation,
Yeah.
just because they're wondering what the heck I'm wearing.
Yeah. I would tell you guys, as you're thinking through goals for this next year, and it is a great time to start working on that. It's slowing down a little bit and there's more time to do it, but just take advantage of that time, work on that. Think about that and start jotting things down and start tweaking those, and then start backtracking them and figuring out the numbers and that kind of stuff. But also be thinking about a 5-year goal,
Mhm.
be thinking about that. And I talk about that all the time when I meet with agents to show them EXP, like what's your plan for 5 years from now? So many people, they might have something, some people haven't thought about it, whatever. And again, aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time, whatever. It just becomes a repeat process. But then some people, they have I want to be retired, or I want to be this, or I want to be that. But then they have, what's the plan to get there? They have no plan. And it's just, so again, next thing you know, 5 years go by. It goes fast. You guys probably see that. I mean, I can't believe it's November already. It's like, good Lord, what happened this year? It's just,
Right.
it goes quick,
Yes.
but to have those kind of things and then start backtracking from that 5-year goal, backtracking that down, to a 1-year goal, to a monthly goal, to a daily goal. And that's how you are able to do that stuff, and set yourself up to where, wow, next thing you know, that 1-year goal, you hit it. And it gets easier and easier, and you get better and better the more you do it. So now next year, the goal becomes bigger or whatever. But you also then, I think the nice thing about EXP is within 5 years, you've got options.
Mhm.
If you're doing it right, you hit an icon every year, and there's no reason why everybody on here couldn't, if that's what you want to do. Some people might not want to do that. That's fine too. It's different for everybody. But you want to hit that, and you want to, do these big things. And now just even with those stock bonuses and that kind of stuff, what that can turn into over time, like, man, we are set up for some big, big things here. So anyway, any other thoughts or comments? Anybody want to share anything before we wrap it up? Anybody?
Thanks for hosting, guys.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you guys for being here. Mary, thank you very much. It was awesome.
Hey, you're welcome. Thanks.
Good
Thanks for
stuff.
letting
And it's a
me
great
sit.
time of year to be thinking about that kind of stuff. So when you said, hey, here's what I want to talk about, I'm like, perfect. It's a good time of year to be thinking about that stuff, because most agents won't. I'm just telling you, they won't. They end up taking December off, kind of whatever. And then January, now they start thinking about where they're going to go. And next thing you know, it's February.
Yeah, they need to hit the ground running in January. So
Yeah.
be ready.
I will tell you this, guys, here's one of the things just to share, because I mean, if I look back over my 20 years in real estate, probably if I had to really break it down, I will tell you probably my 2 biggest months of the year for me, almost every time, have been like January, February,
Mhm.
which most be, and again, I have big Julys and Junes and all that kind of stuff, but just January and February for me have always been huge months in terms of production, because I found myself, and again, something I learned through Craig Proctor, sometimes do the opposite of what everybody else does. Most agents are going to pull back big time over the next 2 months. So I found myself just kicking it in. Now I take, December 15th, 18th, like I shut it down. I mean, whatever, I'm focused on holidays and family and all that kind of stuff. But, I can't tell you, because of just the marketing and just getting things out there and getting the word out there, get my name out there, picking up more leads, that kind of stuff. They're not looking to buy in December, but here's what happens. December 26th, my phone starts going crazy, because that pent up demand, or what, there's just things that build up right there. People aren't in that mode over between Thanksgiving and Christmas, but afterwards there are people moving in January, and we've had big Januaries and Februaries, some of our biggest months ever, because those people, they got under contract, after Christmas and Christmas to New Year's and on into those first couple of weeks of January. And now we end up having these big months. So just something to be thinking about. It's not the time to get the holiday time and get that regroup time and get that goal setting time, but at the same time, be out there and be working ahead, so that, January and February aren't just months where we starve and we're trying to figure out, man, hopefully March gets better, whatever. No, it can be big months for you. There will be plenty of people buying and selling in January and February, but you're going to find those people now.
Mhm.
So just things to think about with that. So, okay. So Cool. Well, guys, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Again, we won't be here next Tuesday because a lot of us will be in Vegas for EXPCon. I would tell you to get tuned into that. If you're not going, get online. A lot of it's going to be online and virtual. You'll be able to do some of that, but plug into that. Look at the schedule for the week. There's a lot of good classes this week, of course, every week in EXP world. Plenty to do there as well. But great time to be working ahead and getting yourself set up for a great 2022. Okay. So Mary, thank you again. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Guys, have a great day. Okay.
Hey, thanks.
Have a good
Thanks,
day,
Mary.
everybody.
Have a good
Thanks,
day.
Thank
guys.
you. Have a
See you in
good day.
Vegas, Jeff.
All right. We'll see you.